Cynthia, hi.
Hello.
Welcome back to London.
Thank you very much.
Tell me what happens when you get back onto British soil.
I get out really quickly. It didn't take me long to sort of get my feet back on the ground because it still feels like home. Usually, if I have a little bit of time, I make sure that I go into the school, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, because I'm vice president there, and I just like visiting and making sure that everything's good. And sometimes I teach there too. So
Nice.
yeah.
Obviously, things have changed quite a bit over your career. So when you go back into RADA, are people a bit more like,
Some of the new students are a little bit excited. So I try to like ease it because I don't want them to feel, because I'm one of the teachers there. So yeah.
You're a prof.
Yeah.
You're a good teacher?
I love it. I'm really passionate about it. It makes me really happy.
I would love to go to school and have a class taken by Cynthia Erivo. I'd be like, I'm not going to bunk off school today. I'll be there every single day. So look, we just heard Replay, the first track from your brand new album, I Forgive You, which drops next Friday, 6th of June. You can pre-add that right now here on Apple. Why did you want to start, introduce the album with that specific song? Why Replay?
Well, because one, Replay is very different to the way a lot of people have heard me sing previously. So I thought it felt like this was the best thing to sort of start introducing people to the album with. It is like a palette cleanser. And it's kind of a reintroduction into who I am.
I love that sort of slight, almost like a Britpop kind of vibe.
That's right.
It reminded me of the last song, you know, that There She Goes song. There's like a little refrain in there. I'm like, ooh, love that.
That's right.
Bit of an
But
indie.
I feel like that's, I sort of thread it through anyway, the Britpop of it all, just because I'm where I'm from. It's what I've been listening to.
Yeah.
And the time I'm from, so like all that 90s.
Oasis, Blur,
you know,
Happy Mondays,
Gorillaz,
that sort of
Happy
thing.
Mondays. Yeah.
Would you ever go to like indie clubs and like twist your melon?
I think I did. There was a little place called Troy Bar, and that used to happen.
Yes. I know
I was
Troy
there
Bar.
all the time.
Yeah.
Troy Bar was one of my favourite places to go. So in Shoreditch used to have like a little bar that music would play. I would do that, yeah.
So you're going to go and see Oasis when they play?
I would love to.
You got tickets?
I didn't get tickets because it was insane.
You didn't get tickets? Did you try and get tickets and you couldn't get tickets?
Yeah.
What?
It was like the internet broke down.
Wow. Cynthia Erivo cannot get tickets for Oasis.
I can't. I'm going to try.
This album, I presume, then, wasn't a case of you just turning up and saying, give me the vocal, give me the lyrics and I'll sing.
No, we were in the studio writing the entire thing. I've co-written across all of them, but any vocal arrangement on this album is done from my head. I didn't write anything down.
It just comes out?
Yeah.
Wow. So with the last track, Grace.
Yeah.
Tell us about that because it features a particular person on there. I don't know who Grace is. Tell us about her.
So when I was making this album whilst we were doing the press tour and finishing off Wicked. Glutton for Punishment, I know it's insane, but that I felt kind of creative at that same time. So I was making the album at the same time. And sort of towards the end of it, and whilst we were about to like embark on the press tour, I got a phone call from someone at Universal who said that there's this young girl who is terminally ill and she wants to watch the film, but she was like, I want to watch it because she knew what was happening to her. When she watched the movie, she sent this beautiful video of what she thought of it, what she liked, and she was this 3-minute video of like her just explaining her favorite bits and which characters she really enjoyed. And when I got the video, I sent her a video back to say thank you. So one day I'm on the way to the studio, on the way to write a song at the studio. And I don't know what I'm going to write about this today. I sort of didn't have an idea about what I wanted to say. And sort of as I get to the studio, I get this call. Grace would love to FaceTime with you. Okay, let's do it now. So I go outside instead of going to the studio, sit down, and we're on the phone for 20 minutes, on FaceTime for 20 minutes and talking about everything. And then she's also really aware of what's happening to her. So she talks about what wings she wants as well, because she knows she's going to be an angel. And then I put the phone down. I go into the studio and I think, what do I want to write about? And I thought, what if I write something about the goodbyes that can feel untimely, but they still leave you with like a little bit of joy because of the person. And they leave you with something that you can pass on to someone else. So I thought, well, I'll write about that. And that's when Grace was written. And I called it Grace because her name was Grace. And I knew I wanted to leave those words at the end because I wanted everyone to have those words, to be left with those words. I feel you. And I love what you did. I love you.
What a beautiful dedication to Grace.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing to do for her and her family.
Yeah.
I think that sums up, I guess, what part of what makes the album so special, because what I felt from listening to the record, I've had a sneak peek over the last week or so, and I've been able to listen to it over and over again.
Yeah.
And I feel a very strong sense of kind of you and your thoughts.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. It's all there, right?
That's right. Yeah. I wanted people to know that I'm human, that I've gone through heartbreak, sometimes caused heartbreak. I'm not perfect, and I'm trying to figure things out as well. I also wanted to share more of me as a queer woman in there as well. There are songs like She Said, there are songs like Play the Woman that have the word she in it instead of he, and on purpose, because I also want to let people know that I'm proud of that part of myself. I want to share that part of myself. And I think sometimes we don't hear it very often, you know?
As a queer R&B fan growing up in the sort of 90s and noughties, it's such a thrill for me to hear artists like yourself using the same sex pronouns, queer pronouns, however you want to put that.
Yeah.
And I love that now today we have so many incredible singers. I just mentioned Duran Bernard there, of course, Janelle, K1, Kelani, so many incredible people. Who's exciting you right now in this world?
Well, Duran is one of my friends, and I love him. I think he's just phenomenal. And Janelle has always. I'm a Janelle fan from Cindy Mayweather, like from right back to the Chase Suite. You know, I remember downloading that at my computer and being like, please, I love this so much. And there's a really sweet artist out of South Africa called Manana. He's wonderful. Doechii really excites me. I think she's phenomenal. Chapel Rowan, I think, is really special. I think people don't realize how brilliant her voice is. The sound of her voice to me is really, really special.
Well, similarly for both you and Chapel, I've seen Chapel play live, and both of you live are outstandingly, astonishingly.
She's really in her body. I just love it. When I'm live, I feel really connected. There's an energy that happens when you're live, and it just for me it's like food. You know, I can feel people in the audience. I can if it's with an orchestra, I can feel the orchestra playing, and I'm the strange kid who has synesthesia, so I can see,
which is the colours. Right.
So for me, I think that's a visceral, physical experience. So when I'm live, I'm actually like getting lots of information at once.
Are you seeing like purple, blue, green? Is that what you're seeing when you sing?
Yeah. Especially if I have an orchestra with me, I like there'll be a song and it will be like a wash with a color. It's very, sometimes it can be really intense, and so I have to switch my brain on so I can be in the song. Otherwise, I'll just it feels like a bodily experience. So
when you're on stage at the Oscars doing Defying Gravity, for example, let's talk about that performance.
When I come out on stage, the first thing I start singing is Home, and my heart is beating out of my chest. My heart is beating out of my chest. But like, it's a weird combination of like absolute nervousness and calm all at once. And when we finally get to Defying Gravity, I felt really powerful. Mainly because I could see people, and you know, people who you wouldn't think to be who would be affected by it, but stars that you never thought you would meet, but they're there, they're right in front of you.
Not bad from a girl from Stockwell.
Not bad, man.
I think you know someone called Ariana Grande.
I do.
We've heard of her. Have you played her the album?
I've been playing her the album.
Okay.
She heard like rough cuts of everything.
Okay.
She's happy, which makes me happy. I trust her ears. And that sounds like a really geeky, musicy thing, but when I talk about ears, it's like how a person hears music, how astute a person's ears are when they hear things. And hers are particularly astute. She can hear everything, and so I trust her opinion and her sort of guidance on some things. I'll get an opinion on a certain song. I'll be like, what do you think about this? Do I need to put this in it? Can I take that out? There's one song that I didn't put on the album that she loves, and when she heard the whole album, she asked me about the song that she loves. She was like, there's this other song that went like this, where is it? Is it coming out at some point? So it's made me for me, it didn't fit necessarily in the language of the album, but I know that I'm going to go back and work on that song.
Future duet with Ariana, maybe.
Maybe, could be.
I Forgive You as a title. Who are we forgiving?
People who have hurt us and sometimes ourselves. That's why I wanted to call it that. I had an album title for it before, and it felt like I was forcing it and trying too hard. And I just thought, what am I actually, what's the overarching message in this? What are we trying to say? And the words "I forgive you" came out, because I was like, oh, that I think is what we're always saying. For the heartbreaks, for the hearts we have broken, for the hard things we've had to say and the hard things we've had to hear.
Do people in past relationships, how do you anticipate them hearing these songs? Do you worry, or does that concern you, or are you just here to speak your truth?
I think I'm just here to speak my truth, because I'm not setting out to hurt anyone.
Of course.
And this for me is the medium that I choose to share. And I hope they hear it and hear the care and the love in it. And if they hear the hurt in it, that's okay too, because there's only a knowledge that you can shift and change and grow. But I also allow myself to acknowledge any hurt I cause as well in this. I think that's where they all came from, sort of celebrating being in love, celebrating sort of I love it because it's not about, because there's a moment before that's all sort of like about the passion, about it's also very sexy, and it's very,
it's very sexy.
I
can confirm,
visceral and all of that. But then in this moment, I feel like I'm in my body, and I love who I am right now, and I love who I'm growing to be. And I think that that section sort of was born out of that. It literally starts with the section that is called Until You Saw Me. And I loved writing these songs because some of them are sort of like lullabies almost. There's one that's called Be Okay, that's just all vocals. And I loved it because I knew I wanted to write something that was just simple and sweet and kind of gentle, like all of the lovely things that you have with the person on a rainy day. The books we read together, the ever silent smiles, time passes by, the moon finds the sky. Nighttime can come, but it doesn't leave the light. Makes all the shadows seem soft and polite. No rainy weekend is rainy with you. The sun will still shine in a little bedroom when you are near and the world is far away. As long as you're here, we'll be okay. Yeah, that was so beautiful. I'm glad that I managed to resist the temptation to sing along, because we did not need me to ruin that for us both. Who was on the mood board when you kind of put this whole thing together? I didn't even put two and two together with Shoulda Woulda Coulda, because that originally came from Sister Act 2. When is it Sister Act 2? It is Sister Act 2. When Cheryl Lee Ralph is talking to Lauryn Hill, and she says that I don't want you. There are plenty of people on the street singing their shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I'm sure there's some All Saints in there. I'm sure, just by accident. Brandy's in there for sure. There's a newer artist called Quabs, who my heart breaks for him, because he's got one of the most exquisite voices, and I loved how sort of he's one of the only voices that like accesses that deeper register in his voice, and I wanted to play with some of that on some of the songs. Worst of Me, which you released a few weeks ago, and I don't know how the neighbours haven't called the police on me absolutely murdering that song for days on end. And in the studio, everyone left the studio when we put it on for me to sing. Tell us about Worst of Me, and to tell us about that track. It's such a wonderful song. Thank you. It's about the moment in a relationship when you realise that you're not actually bringing the best out of each other at all, and actually you're seeking the worst of a person. And it's just an honest look at what the end of a relationship can look like, and what I've been through in a relationship before. And I wanted to wail from the rooftops about it and sing as big and as hard as I could. Yeah, it's very dramatic. Yeah. That lyric, you were so I can't say it without singing. You were so unkind. Oh my! It was straight through my heart, Cynthia, when I heard that. We had Mae Martin on Proud last month. They were talking about how it might have been easier for them back in the noughties to exist as a queer person than it is now. I don't know. Does that resonate with you? How do you feel from your perspective? Each century, each decade has its issues. So it may have been easier for Mae to exist in the noughties, but as an artist, I look at how many Black performers were around in the noughties, and you think, well, there were a few, but very few Black women were getting the chance to make music. And if they were around for a very short time and then they disappeared. You know, right now we're starting to see sort of a resurgence as an artist of Black female performers. So for me, it's pick your poison. Do you know what I mean? We've come, you know, leaps and bounds from where we were, but also we keep taking steps back. We keep having to learn our lessons over and over again to do better and want better. Yeah.
Beautifully put. I can't help but think of your performance of stand-up from Harriet, which I rewatched recently and is such a brilliant film. I recommend everyone go and watch that.
I'm so proud of it. I'm really proud of it. It keeps coming back. It keeps, and really that's all you wish for your work, that it is used for the right purposes, that it's used to speak to others, that it's used to resist, that it's used to lift, that it's used to inspire. And the fact that this particular song is doing that, it makes me really proud.
You have spoken so much about Wicked. There cannot be a question on earth that you haven't been asked. So I'm not going to try to. I will just ask you.
Yes.
If you look at the whole experience from audition through to filming, through to awards, press tour, press runs, you know, all of this stuff. What's been the most special moment for you? What is the moment that makes you feel most proud?
This is really specific, but there's a moment in Australia, and I'm speaking, where I spoke to a journalist, M, and we ended up just completely broken down in tears. She's like, you don't know what you've done for neurodivergent queer woman like myself who's just trying to figure it out. She was like, I had a terrible day today. And no, I went to see the movie but I had like literally a few dollars in my purse, and that's the thing that lifted my spirits, and I felt really seen. That sentiment kept coming up throughout this entire tour. And that for me, I think, is the heart of this entire thing, that a piece like this, that a character like this can make people feel seen, and celebrate the difference in people. That I think has been the most amazing thing about all of this.
Who have been your queer heroes, the people that, as a young Black queer woman growing up in London, that you could look to and feel inspired by?
This might sound like a random one, but George Michael.
Come on.
Elton John.
Yeah.
Who's been really like lovely with me. It's like Uncle Elton. It's like a kind spirited human being who just is always like celebratory when I meet him, and is always really kind, is always really encouraging. I feel really grateful for that. Who else? I say Erica, even though I don't think she's queer, but there's just something about her ownership of how different she is.
We're going to let you go, but I would like to wish you all of the luck, not that you need it, with your amazing new album, I Forgive You. It's such a wonderful record.
Thank you.